Welcome to Los Comics. I'm Javier Hernandez, your host, and today it's our favorite holiday here at Los Comics. It's April 23rd, my birthday. But we're not going to let that get in the way of doing a new episode. So, in light of, being my birthday, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Oh, yes, thank you for the well wishes. Appreciate them. I thought it'd be interesting because some of the stuff I find in my studio area here as I've been cleaning up little by little, slowly but surely. A couple of things I came across, and I thought, okay, well let's do this. Is a nice time capsule. All the stuff I'm going to be showing you today goes back like, probably I'm trying to think here, 40 years maybe. Wow. Yeah, let me go through this stuff, some childhood books and stuff. And this is something that we all like to always see. This is my earliest known sketchbook, which I'll go through today. It's legit. It's falling apart a little bit here, so I better be careful here. But yeah, this is, I'm glad it survived all these decades. Wow, so we'll look to that, and then this other, I showed this, I think, a year ago. Within the last year on my social networks. So I'll show you that, and I'll show you this, believe me. What I want to go through is some books, some childhood favorite books of mine. These two particularly are very instrumental. They're drawing books. Some of you may have seen these before, or you may have them or had them. But if you remember, I did an earlier episode with these two books, right? The famous cover falling off here, Origins of Marvel Comics. So if I hadn't covered these two books earlier, I'd definitely be doing it today. But since I talked about these already, just check out the earlier episode. I'll put the link at the top here of this video, at the end of this video, in case you haven't seen it, so you can check out me talking about the origins of Marvel Comics and how to draw comics the Marvel way. Two really key instrumental books in my childhood and upbringing, and I'm sure for a lot of people. So let's put those aside for now, or for the rest of the episode. So I guess I'll probably start with this is probably the earliest book. So this book is not my actual copy. So I never had this book. I used to borrow it from the Whittier Public Library, but it was an actual hardcover. This is about 10, 12 years ago, as I started teaching comic and cartooning classes. I remembered this book, and I thought it'd be great to use it as a little instructional, helping hand in my classes for my students, particularly middle school and maybe 4th, 5th, 6th graders. So you guys ever heard of Ed Emberley? He's written, I think it's probably about 100 books. He's an illustrator, primarily children's book illustrator. But man, I remember, I don't know how old I was when I first saw this in the library, but I remember renting it and then, going back and renting it a couple of times. So it's a very simple, he's telling you basically, if you can draw these shapes and letters, you can do the artwork in his book and draw characters and such. So triangles, circles, squares, rectangles. If you know the alphabet by this point when you get this book, as long as you can draw the letters and you can draw your numbers, and then do simple other little shapes and things, dots, squiggles, scratchy lines. So basically what he does, I think this all fits on the camera. These are really easy snakes. Well, look, let's go with the check, right? A little check. So you start with the circle, and then he tells you underneath the demonstration, what you need to draw. So you draw a little dot for the eye, for the beak, the letter V, for the two legs, the letter V again, but upside down, and then the little toes. Do chicks have toes? And so that little shape, little design. And then the letter 3 you can do for his wings. So, yeah, I remember just being fascinated by Well, I mean, I used to love the drawing, like the final character, right? They're just so simple, and actually, I love the color palette he's using in this book. But and then it's like, wow, look at the way he's just building this. So of course, you start drawing, start copying these things. Some of these are really iconic to me. I mean, they all are. But when I look at them, I just totally remember just like, I guess just staring at that as a kid, marveling at the great artwork and such. I always loved the crab, right? And crab just a neat character. Crabs are just a beautiful looking creatures anyway. And then, it's stylized here by him, by Ed Emberley, and into that. So, just follow along. Just keep adding the shapes. And then you got your crab, you got your bat. I used to trip out on this lion a lot. I don't know why. Just, I guess when you get to the main, you go from here, and then all of a sudden you just throw in all the, the random squiggle lines. I mean, main lines, I guess we'll call them. I used to love the bulldog. I used to love the way that dog looked. And again, look how simple it is to get through here. And the fox and the wolf running, especially this one, right? I mean, look how sinister that looks. I think looks awesome. And I remember doing this a lot in my classes when I started teaching. The kids would always like this one, and then getting to it. It was always exciting, to be able to teach this because, if a lot of the kids, when you have them in the class, hey, I can't draw, mister, is what they tell you. But, again, if they can just draw look at these simple shapes they're drawing. And then when they do that, and I'd have them colored in. And then I think after I had the kids do this drawing, I go, well, draw something in front of it if you want, or behind it. Make a little scene. Is he going after something, or is something chasing him? So yeah, the elephant. This is nice. He's showing you how to draw a horse, but it's galloping, right? It's not just standing up straight, which if it was straight, you just draw the legs, up and down, straight up and down. Put a little curve on it with the hair, the hair flowing in the wind. You get that movement on there. Which is, that's something I'd point out to when I would teach from here, showing the students, hey, look, kids, just bend the legs, and it gives that forward movement. Then I'd have them add motion lines a little bit just to really emphasize the action. This is another one I like. Just like the wolf. Yeah, I like the dark, sinister creatures, right? So this was actually, the kids did like drawing the shark a lot, I remember. This is beautiful too, the whale, the simplicity of that. I mean, they're all very simple, but man. I always used to love the little monkey. The monkey was fun to draw. And the big gorilla. These two, man, like even the color, right? That orange on the white and that green on the white, and then they both actually have these little rectangle shapes for, ornamentation designs on there. So yeah, the kids would love drawing these two a lot. Every time I look at that, I think of the, the Izod Lacoste, alligator logo for the clothing company. But man, these are great. And of course, look at this, right? I think it's on the, look at, you get the promise of drawing a giant dragon. I remember standing in front of the class, as an instructor, and when I opened to this page, double page, and all the kids like, oh, let's draw that, mister. I go, okay, let's work our way to it. Let's do some simple ones. And look at the steps. Again, it's pretty simple, right? Again, with the shapes, letter D, letter S, more S's, triangles, circles, dots, letter S, little lines, M's, triangles. And then, working your way to this huge dragon. That was pretty exciting. So, Ed Emberley, man, he's wonderful, man. He's a wonderful instructor, wonderful artist. I've seen some little biographies of him on YouTube. And he's such a humble guy. He always looked at himself as just like, almost like he just had that was his trade, right? That was his craft. Could have been a plumber or lumberman. He was an artist, so he did children's books, but he never considered himself like an artiste. So, wonderful person. I believe he's still alive. But yeah, this is, so I think I said that. So I bought this, yeah. I had to get a copy of this about 10, 15 years ago when I started teaching. I thought it'd be coming handy. And I still use it when I'm doing a class where it's just kind of simple cartooning. So look this up. He's got a lot of new, a lot of them are still in print, so you can get them brand new from your favorite bookseller, whatever bookseller you use. Or you can find in the used bins online, right? So, and they shouldn't be ridiculously expensive unless you want like some signed first edition, but I don't know what I paid for this. Might have been 10, 12, 15 bucks. It's totally worth it. Whoops, excuse me. Okay, another book I had I remember getting this in grade school. This big, heavy, chunky book, The Great Comic Book Heroes. I'm kind of lifting it so maybe you don't get the glare on it. Hope you can see it all in the camera. This is written by cartoonist Jules Feiffer. Can you see that? Yeah. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning cartoonist. I think he won a Pulitzer Prize in the mid-'80s for his political cartooning. He's still alive, last I checked online. So I think he's 91. But Jules Feiffer, yeah, very highly regarded cartoonist, political cartoonist. As a teenager, he was an assistant for Will Eisner from The Spirit. Remember The Spirit comic from the 40s? So Mr. Feiffer goes way back. And I think he's written plays and he's written books. And of course, he's so well known for his cartooning. Again, this book is not my actual copy. Again, this is something I bought, I don't know, 15 years ago. Could be between 10 or 20 years ago. I don't know, who remembers all this stuff? But I did have a copy of this. And it's funny, I got a copy of this when I was in elementary school, when I was, totally into comics. When I first started out and becoming a comic fanatic. So it might have been the 5th grade or 6th grade. But there was this kid, and if any of my friends from the old elementary days are listening, his name was Paul, and I forgot his last name. But what tripped me out about him, he was I guess he boxed. I guess there was what, I don't know, kid divisions back then. But he's a skinny kid, but kind of like, Bruce Lee, tiger muscled as a young boxer. I don't know, was it bantamweight, or I don't know what a kid's weight division would have been, but so he had a copy of this. He brought it into school one day, and I remember his copy. I don't know if he had the cover on it. He may not have, because right here on the cover, he had carved in the letter P. So I'm not sure. I mean, he might have scratched it in, and then he peeled off like this red, whatever this red covering is. So the big letter P was on here. That was Paul. That was his copy. I don't know. He must have got it from a dad or something, or uncle. And I remember, so anyway, what this is this came out in '65 originally. And what it is, it's a collection of 1940s comics, or the very first appearances of a lot of the famous superheroes. So the beginning of the book, it has these various essays by, I gotta show you that in a second. So yeah, these are all the stories reprinted, at least like the origin stories of the first appearance. And these are all 1940s characters from The Spirit, going all the way back to, well, of course, Superman, the first classic American comic book superhero. Captain Marvel, Batman, Human Torch, the original one from the 40s, Flash, Green Lantern, Spectre, Hawkman, Wonder Woman, Submariner, Captain America, Plastic Man, and The Spirit. So the beginning of the book is all these short essays on the comics, the history of the creators of these comics, and when they came out and how they related to newspaper strips. It's funny. Let's see. Yeah, I got this marked here. Plug. If you guys ever seen the Quentin Tarantino movie Kill Bill, I guess it'd be Volume 2, the second one. When David Carradine, he finally captures Uma Thurman, right? Uh, the bride in the movie, Beatrice. Is it Beatrix? Beatrix. And then remember he has her. He's in his house and he's at his bar, or whatever, fixing himself a drink, and or is he making a sandwich? I forgot. But he's got her sitting down, and he shot her with some injection where she's kind of, she really can't move, and I guess it's like a truth serum. And as she's sitting there, he's waiting for the serum to take effect. He starts going into this rant about how much he loves comic books, especially with superheroes. And he has this monologue about Clark Kent. And that monologue pretty much came from this second chapter in the essay. What does he got going here? See, if you saw the film, you'll probably remember these lines here. But Superman only had to wake up in the morning to be Superman. In his case, Clark Kent was the put on. The fellow with the eyeglasses and the acne and the walk the girls laughed at wasn't real, didn't exist, was a sacrificial disguise, an act of discreet martyrdom. Had they but known. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know what the situation is there. If Tarantino acknowledged Feiffer or what, or how that works when you quote somebody's, essay. But all I'm telling you is it's in the film and it originally was in the book. So I'm sure you can track this book down still too, The Great Comic Book Heroes. I mean, it's long out of print, but I'm sure there's a ton of copies out there that may not be super expensive. But yeah, so you go through all these essays, he talks about the individual characters, and like I said, just the history, since he was actually involved back then in comics at the time. But it's not really written for kids. I mean, they're very intelligent, very articulate essays. Is articulate the way you described an essay, or is it something that's spoken? I don't remember. But so as a kid, I tried to read it. It's not like I couldn't read, but some of it might have been over my head. But what I wanted to get to was, as a kid, of course, like, wow, look at these comics. So I ended up, like I said, Paul had this copy. I didn't have this book. It's like, man, where do you get this book? And then, after I looked through this copy, like, man, it's got all these old stories of these, these old superhero comics. This was in this would have been the mid 70s, right? When I'm first seeing this book. And even then, that these comics were like the old comics. To be able to read like the origin of Captain Marvel. Well, there's one page of it, I guess, an excerpt. But right here, the Batman, who he is and how he came to be. It's like, look how dark that looks. And then those are, I think it's the first appearance of the Joker. How creepy he looks here. Reminds me of Jack Nicholson's Joker from the movie. Anyway, I really coveted this book. So I remember trading with Paul. All I can think of, I probably just had it was probably a stack of comics I had. Unless there was some book that he wanted to trade. But that was really fun back in elementary school, when you're first becoming a comics fan. And I remember getting a lot of my other friends into comics. But then this guy Paul shows up with this awesome book. So, we traded, and I got his book. And I had it for years and years. And I don't know, maybe I still have it somewhere. But I remember buying this because it's like, well, I want the cover. And then, I just want to make sure I have the book. I may not even have his copy anymore. But anyway, I got it now. So this was just cool as a kid to be able to, as a junior historian, I got a collection of the old 1940s comics. All right, here's another book I got as a youngster. Hang on a second. This is a birthday party here, kind of. So everybody pull up your favorite drink and kick back in your favorite chair and watch the episode. So check out this book. Excuse me. I had to wet my whistle there. So this book, I probably would have got it in middle school. Cartooning the Head and Figure by Jack Hamm. Jack Hamm was obviously a cartoonist. He also, I think, taught art, cartooning and drawing in a college. But so this is a fantastic book. I remember seeing this probably at I mentioned it before, Bookland in Uptown Whittier. I used to go there a lot as a kid to the various bookstores. The golden era for me We had several bookstores and a lot of used bookstores. But yeah, I saw this book and it's like, wow, a book on cartooning. I'm into cartooning. So this is not superhero comic cartooning. This is like what you find in the comic strips and newspapers, editorial cartooning. But right, I mean, look at this. Side view cartoon noses. So he's got 127. Obviously, you can just keep redoing that shape over and over and smash it and stretch it, whatever. It's very thorough, right? I mean, look at this. This is crazy now that I look at it. Cartoon eyes, right? You know, bugged out, sleepy, droopy, narrow, wide eyelashes. I mean, hairstyles. Yeah, I was pretty amazed when I you know, took this book home and just, I mean, look at that great cartooning on this man's part. And what's amazing to me as a kid, especially even still today, is the variety of styles he employs. Not just with the flick of his wrist, whatever, or just a stroke of his brush pen, whatever. He draws in different styles. You know, they're all cartoony, but some are a little more realistic. Some are a lot more rubbery and stretchy, and so look at the variety here between these two here. So yeah, I mean, look at the amount of. I remember just looking through all these and wow, this is astounding. What are these cartoon faces? Like a catalog of emotions and expressions. Curious, number 30, and there's cross references to other ones. Defiance, desperation. I mean, this is a master artist because you have to know how to like draw and everything. You know, use the tools, but you have to have a great understanding and psychology of people's emotion, and psychological states, and how to best portray it. I mean, right? Well, there's sarcasm, and then there's scorn, there's shame, there's smile, there's a snarl, there's a sneer, the sneeze, there's being sophisticated, sorrow, mortified, there's jealousy. Look at that, capturing the jealousy, facial emotion. And then, of course, you know, as an anatomist, he's going to know how all the muscles in your face make you frown, smile, you know, the way the muscles pull your mouth, your eyes, and everything. Yeah, this was a pretty big revelation to me as a youngster. Profiles. Look at this. This is fantastic. Just, these all ladies, but look at the differences in them. And it's just the same basic, right? Like the forehead, the nose, and the chin. They all have that. They all have an eye, but it's just this, the way he makes it and the expression he gives it. I love that drawing. Wow. Look at this. All different faces. The Eisenhower. It's a, you know, it's kind of like a photorealistic portrayal, and here's a cartoony version. The art of caricature, right? Looking at a person, whoever it is, a famous person or someone sitting there at your little setup there at Knott's Berry Farm, and you know, how do you pull out their features and which features do you exaggerate and whatnot. I don't want to go through the whole book. I'd like to, but I want to keep this episode under a certain time, and we gotta share the wealth with the other books still. So yeah, showing you, you know, anatomy, you know, the way the body can stand and the weight on one foot and the other. I mean, this is, look at this. I'm only halfway. This is a master class. This is a complete full semester or two of studying, drawing, and cartooning. Cartooning the head and the figure, just like he said. This is neat. This wheel here, you can, just like it's in your mind, rotate the legs to any body here. But anyway, yeah, again, as a young kid, you know, God, look at this artwork. It's so fantastic. As a young kid, it really opens your mind up when you start looking at this stuff. I mean, I didn't read the book. You know, I mean, it's a lot of reading. I did not read. I will tell you right now, I did not read every you know, section here. I definitely looked at the art, and you just absorb all this stuff, and it just, I don't know, it kind of points you in a direction to at least explore, or at least be aware of, I should say. Be aware of what can be done and how someone did it. right? Because these are all drawn by somebody's hand with the you know, whatever tool he uses. So yeah, Jack Hamm, a very key early instrumental, you know, so like a one-on-one education because it's just me and the book. Look at all this stuff. Real life, football guy, and then cartoony. My brother used to draw something like that, but his was even more, really more exaggerated. Nice illustration there. And then this cartoony version. It's great. These wrestlers biting the guy's hand. Anyway, something like this. This book's still available. If you got a young artist on your hands, he or she may be blown away by just, you know, what's possible, what someone can do with their art. So this is Jack Hamm, cartooning the head and the figure. It's my original copy. It's the only one I ever had. He did several other books. There was drawing animals and drawing the head and the figure, more like realistic drawing. So let me show you this one first, because this would be older. So check this out. It's called the Superhero Album. That's my right, man. It's a trip seeing this stuff that he did decades ago. So I'm guessing I must have done this probably in, I have no idea, either 6th grade or maybe middle school. So let me just really quick, here's an old comic, right? Deathlock, 25 cents from the mid-70s. So I cut up my comics, which is shocking. But a lot of times, like they always have a letters page where you can write letters to the comic book. So they always had like a header. This is called Mind Locks, right? Deathlock. And then they'd always have like some artwork. So a lot of times they put like just images of the character from earlier issues. And then there's always art. Well, obviously the comic is full of art, but there's sometimes there'd always be artwork like in other pages, like this little advertisement for Twinkies or like an ad, right? Featuring art from the of the comic book character. So what I would do, I would cut out the there's like an ad in a Superman comic for all the Superman titles, and then right there's the letterhead for the letter page, the spider's web. So I would cut out those pages, not always the comic itself, the story, but the extra artwork. This is from a sticker. They used to do stickers. I got a Ditko piece. Again, more from the letters page. So I just wanted to compile all these things into, I don't know what this was. Just the Superhero Album. You know, there was some great images of the Batman villains from some comic. Let's Rap with Cap, and then that's from the beginning of each comic on the top, on the first page. They'd always have like a brief origin of the character. Daredevil. So look at that. Some of these may have fallen out, it looks like. Oh, look. Okay, this is definitely elementary. Yeah. I drew way better in middle school, and even that was, you know, still junior division. But yeah, this is this is cute. The Super Friends. Aquaman with his tank of fish, Wonder Woman with their golden lasso, Superman, and Batman and Robin apparently holding hands. There we go. They're very progressive. Right here I had to put a note. This is the Golden Age Flash, and this is the modern Flash of that era. And then so superhero origin. So then what I did, we had a typewriter, so I would write the origin of Spider-Man. I would condense it down into, while still in high school, young Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider at a science exhibition. Instead of dying, he soon found himself possessing uncanny abilities, the proportionate strength of a spider, the knack of climbing walls, all of which made him a friendly neighborhood. I forgot Spider-Man on there. But anyway, this is fun stuff to go back and read this stuff. The Batman origin, and again, you know, Batman and Bruce Wayne. Well, Captain America, that's a long one. Continue on next page. Wow, that is huge. I saw the word Hitler in here. Yeah, because the origin takes place in the 40s, right? Well, you've all seen the movie, so yeah, Nazism, new champion, defender, our hour of need. You know, a lot of this I copied from the comic, definitely. I could tell. Yeah, Batman. What is it? Criminals are cowardly and superstitious lot. So Daredevil. So I guess back then I didn't, you know, even though I knew the difference between Marvel and DC characters, I didn't separate them here, at least in the origin section. Fantastic Four, the Hulk, superhero fun page. Well, what's this stuff? Yeah. So okay, there was other books out like this at the time, or stickers. Yeah, let me show you this really quick. Marvel had this series of stickers, and I don't know. I think Stan Lee may have wrote the caption. I'm not sure, but this came out in the '70s. So you buy them like baseball cards. They'd come in a pack with bubble gum. I don't know how many you got per pack, but and then you peel the sticker off. So that's what these were. So they would take the artwork from the comics, and then supposedly put some funny caption on it. Who said blondes have more fun? Here's a Daredevil one. Badness makes me see red. So what I did on these fun pages, yeah, I thought I could be funny and write my own little gags. Like here's Crypto the Superdog flying away, so I drew in a cat. The cat's all messed up. He's got stars in his eyes. And don't ever fool around with me again. I guess Crypto beat him up. Super Baby, who told me to play with baby blocks. So that's funny that I actually, well, they're not funny. Maybe they are, but it's funny that I thought I could do these myself. Which is, here comes the Judge, Thor with his hammer, Batman holding this guy. Oh my love. Oh, Weenie Roast. Man, this stuff is crazy. Here's one of those Marvel stickers. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy. Some of mine are probably funnier than some of theirs. Here, I copied it. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy. Yeah, man, it's a lot of comics that were cut up, huh? In the name of humor. Fantastic Four. So here's an official one. I use Vanishing Cream. Here I didn't even write anything. I just used what was already here. I ain't got time to look. I got a little clobbering to do. Mr. Fantastic. I think I'll stretch around a little. Hulk. I hate to take a nap. Hulk walking away. I think I hear my mommy. Here, the originals typo there of supervillains. Yeah, no artwork for the villains. The Kangaroo, a Spider-Man villain. The Destroyer, Two-Face, Scarecrow, Moonstone. Wow. Yeah, it's got to be late 70s. Now that I think about it, Moonstone from Captain America. No, known more about superheroes. Let's cross off that N there. So here's some facts. Superman. These are Superman's arch enemies. Luthor, Mr. Mxyzptlk, blah, 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 blah. Kryptonite. Superman's weakness is kryptonite. Green kryptonite can kill Superman. Red kryptonite has weird, unpredictable effects on Superman. Yeah, I definitely copied that out of a comic or something. Spider-Man. These are Spider-Man's arch enemies. Doc Ock all the way down to I started handwriting these afterwards. Cyclone, Green Goblin, Mirage, Lightmaster, Doctor Doom. Lightmaster came out in an issue of Peter Parker, this particular Spider-Man. So that's got to be, yeah, late 70s. So, I didn't want to stick this back in the typewriter and add these. I just hand wrote them. Kingpin, 2 words. Kingpin. Batman. Batman has a utility belt. It is like a miniature laboratory. You guys know that? Okay. So, man, look at this stuff. Fantastic Four, the Hulk, superheroes and supervillains. Wow. Yeah, here's the DC roster of bad guys and good guys, and the Marvel roster. Look at that. Superhero album. Okay, well, you know what? I don't want to rush this last thing. Oh, let me do it. We're gonna go over 30 minutes, but I have on the other videos too. So check this out. This is yeah, that's right. I did show you this in the beginning. I gotta show it now. So these are, luckily I dated them. This is 7/3/81. So I dated them on the back. So this was from July 81 to I think November 81. Wow. So I was in, let's see. It was freshman year in high school, so I was about 15. And I was doing these comic, one-panel comic gags. I was very much into the Far Side, right? Remember the Far Side in the newspaper? I was a huge Far Side fan. You know, single-panel comic gags, comic strips. And And that's, I was reading through all these, and yeah, I could tell very heavily influenced also by, there's a huge Benny Hill fan at the time. So yeah, this is a whole book of these. Unaccustomed as I am to public speeches, welcome Mayor C.R. Udd, Mayor Crud. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all these just for time. There's this eagle about to pounce on that little mouse, who for some reason this poor guy got stuck up on teetering on the cliff, and there's a mouse on the hood. So we know how that's going to end. Oh, here's this starving guy trapped on an island, shark-infested island, and there's a crate of food right out of his reach. Man, I was a macabre little 15-year-old back then. Super Bowl today at 3 o'clock, Channel 7, Rams versus Dallas Cowboys. This guy's all set up with the beer and the popcorn and everything. And the chandelier apparently crushed the TV a minute before 3. Showtime. Wow. I was never a football fan, so that might have been my, you know, getting back at all those sport fans, you know, and their football fanaticism. I hope I'm not boring any of you, says the Padre in church. This guy's totally knocked out here in the pew. Look at that, all nude female dancers, no minors, so the kids are out there yelling fire. Okay, that is a Benny Hill influence, I gotta say. A little political humor, right? Uncle Sam in bed at night, having nightmares of, wow, he's got a long memory. He's got Hitler, Fidel Castro, and of course the Ayatollah from the Iranian hostage situation back in the day, inflation. Yeah, I was very politically, at least aware back then. Still am. I was definitely a political junkie back then. This guy's sticking knives in this thing, and I think there's a guy in there. Oh, Mr. Hey, can you hear me still? Anyway, like I said, I shouldn't be teasing by just showing. Here's one. This will show up really good because it's colored really dark. The flying trio, trapeze bust, and these guys that go flying to their deaths. Yes, from the brain of a fish. Here's a little comic, 3-part comic. Some guy gets, they're testing some fireproof suit, it looks like. And he got torched and just bones left over. Wow. Yeah, there it is. 10/7/81. I like this one, real simple. This guy's walking, and a lady around the corner is about to hit the fly with the insecticide, and the guy turns the corner and gets hit with the gas. Man, I've got a whole bunch of these in here. Wow. Yeah, I was, this kid's building a snowman, and of course the show-off kid here is this giant Superman snowman. Yeah, I definitely had interest, or at least in doing these one-panel gags at the time. I know this is a Benny Hill episode or a clip. The Yellow River by I.P. Freely. This guy doing that Benny Hill face. What the? Wow, this is a total time capsule. So Benny Hill and The Far Side were definitely on my mind quite a bit back then. And, you know, because I like drawing and trying my hand at comics, these are the comics that came out with. This guy in a bowling alley went all the way flying down the lane, didn't let go of the ball. The nuclear chemical. I repeat, the report that deadly killer fumes have spread into the city are not true, right? The guys in the suits and the people listening not believing. Wow, I have a lot of religious themed jokes, and here's a priest talking to these cult members. The church you guys are looking for is down the street. Wow, Pierre's fencing school. Terribly sorry, monsieur. Monsieur? Monsieur? I forgot. Wow, look at this. KKK guy getting his butt kicked by these 2 black gentlemen. Good for them. Wow, 15-year-old me. Okay. Howard! Porcupine's about to spear Howard there. Oh, man. Daddy, let's see, kid and Daddy must have left to the cabin. I better hurry over there. Yikes. Wow. Oh man, look at this. Kill the ambassador. Wow, this is crazy. Boy, the things you can make out of spare parts. We'll leave it at there, right? That's be ingenious and creative and resourceful with your creativity, people. So here we go, man. I know I have I know I have one comic I did. It's a Spider-Man comic from this era. I think it's on green paper, if I remember. I remember finding it some years ago, and then I put it back in the folder, and it got left back in some closet under some box. So I'll dig that up one day and I'll share that. But man, this is my early attempts at storytelling, drawing, making comics, you know, design, right? This is where my book design came from and such. So anyway, that's the year that was, or the years that were back then. Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in once again. And, you know, if you're watching this today, kind of helping celebrate my birthday, appreciate that. You know, please subscribe if you haven't. The subscriptions are going up. We're at 61, I think. It'll be great to get to 100. Once I get to 100 subscribers, YouTube will let me have my own, what do you call it, web address, where, you know, it can be Los Comics TV, not just, it's right now it's like YouTube / and then some huge ridiculous number. But once I have 100 subscribers, you get your own, I forgot what you call that, dedicated, you know, website link, or I can't think of the name right now. But anyway, thanks so much for tuning in once again, and hope you enjoyed this look way back. So we'll see you again on the next episode of Los Comics TV. Thank you, everybody.